Hello, this is Dr. Benoit, and today we are going to review Teaching Cycle with Pre-Assessment, Stage 2, Task 3. So as we can see, I've done the brief overview here at the top, and your resources are at the bottom. And the template, which is right here, I'm highlighting it at the bottom. This one right here, this is the one we're going to look a little bit more closely at in a moment. It's page 16 of the template is where this one starts. So what we're doing with this particular task is we are ensuring that our instruction is aligned to standards, and we're referring specifically here to not only those academic standards, but the culturally responsive standards. So if you are not a math teacher, so you teach anything other than math, you're going to be using the reading diversity tool for selecting diverse texts. If you are a math teacher, you will be using the Ready Classroom Mathematics Responsiveness tool. So you select a representative text from your content area and fill out one of the analysis templates. So when we talk about a representative text, what this means is, so in your content area, you should have some sort of text that is aligned with your lesson. For your focus class, that could be, if you're ELA, it's pretty easy. It's a novel that you're reading, perhaps, or maybe it's a particular article or something that you're studying or reviewing. If you are in social studies, it might be a chapter in the textbook, or it may be a speech that the students are studying or something like that. Some of the other content areas, it can get a little more challenging. So for example, if you're in a music class, maybe you want to look at your students, the actual workbook that they're using. Every single grade level typically has, like a different practice book or a warm-up book or something like that. So you could use that. Same situation if you're in art, maybe your students don't actually have a textbook per se, but what sort of documents, instructions, even videos can count. Like if you use videos in your text, you can use that. If your content area is completely void of anything at all like that, then you need to think about how you would pair a representative text to whatever your focus class is studying. So for example, let's say that you are in H&HP and your students are doing like circuits for sprints and jumps. Well, it might be fun to pair that with an article about the Olympics and where the Olympics came from and its connection to track and field or something like that. Same situation if you were in art, if you are, students are perhaps doing watercolor painting or something like that. Find some sort of article, video on, the Impressionists, or maybe a particular artist in that, or maybe several artists, and let them choose, let them pick which one they would want to do. So you get the idea here. So when we're talking about selecting a representative text, you can use one that you see in your focus class that they're using, but you can also pair one that if you teach this unit in the future, you could see how it could be paired with this particular content area. So here what you see is I've got the rubric for you, and then the template, which we're about to look at, and then the two different tools are presented here. This is the one for everyone else, Reading Diversity tool, and this is the one for math. And down here are two documents that are very, very helpful. There's a portion in each one of these that asks you to measure text complexity. And these two tools might be exactly what you need to help you come up with the language and the rating system to measure text complexity. One of them is for informational or nonfiction, and one of them is for literary or fiction. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into looking at the template. I think I may already have it pulled up down here. Yes, I do. So when we are talking about the template, we've been scrolling down every time. It looks like this at the beginning, And then we're going to scroll all the way down until we get to stage 2. Oh, I think I passed it up here. Yep, because I saw that. Stage 2, task 3. And you can locate this on page 16. So in this particular one, as I mentioned, we are covering these practices. We're looking for high leverage practices and culturally responsive teaching competencies. And the first thing that we do is complete the teaching tolerance text selection tool. And there is a link here for it. So you'll need to click on this. It's going to come open for you, and it walks you through how to determine the quantitative and qualitative measures, complexity levels of a text. So texts have quantitative complexity. These are things that are determined based on the grade level that we're teaching, and seeing how appropriate it is for the content of what we're teaching. And then we also have qualitative measures, which are like the lexile levels. So check this out, and you're going to be using that for the reading diversity tool. And then notice that she also has linked here the Ready Classroom Mathematics Culturally Responsive tool. So the thing that you need to do for this one is you're going to be filling out one or the other of those. There are several references here that you may need to use when it comes to some of the reflection questions for these. You might want to refer to some of these references. So they're linked here that you could pull them up. And then that's actually the biggest chunk is completing those documents, which I'll show you in just a moment. But here are some links to help you determine lexile level. I will give you a heads up. Sometimes they don't work very well. Sometimes they're free, sometimes they're not free. So there are several methods here to determine the lexile level. Please try every one of those. I do understand though that it's a little, the sites can be a little bit tricky. So you might have to just use this, this manual way that's kind of presented right here. If you use an actual book, you can search for it, or if you have a word problem, shorter text, or artifact, then you could actually use this, the readability statistics. So there's a couple of different ways that you could get the lexile level. And then as we are looking for some of these, I put some samples here for you. I don't know why it double folded it like that. We've got an English sample and a social studies sample here. And so the English one is actually in a PowerPoint. And this is the tool. So let me just take a minute before I do this, and let me actually show you. So this is the culturally responsive, no, the reading diversity tool, because that's what the English one would have used. And it's going to look like this, and you can type directly into it. At the time that the sample that I'm going to show you, at that time that the student made the PowerPoint, we had not yet converted the reading diversity tool, which was a PDF. We had not yet converted it into a Word document. So I think you're going to actually find it easier to just type straight into this Word document now. In fact, that's probably the easiest thing for you to do. It's so easy to type into now. And you just fill every portion of it out, and it's broken down. The first one is complexity, and it breaks down the complexity. Again, use the lexile, but then if you also have other things, you can, there's like those two other methods if the lexile measure isn't working for you. The qualitative, remember those are those two documents that I showed you in the folder. And this gives you sort of those two documents help you understand how you are supposed to analyze the qualitative measure. The diversity and representation. And so this allows you to analyze that part of the representative text. The next one is the critical literacy portion. And these questions walk you through how to analyze that. And then lastly is the reader and task consideration. And these questions walk through how to analyze that. So again, I recommend that you just type straight into this document. This PowerPoint that I'm going to show you, this was before we had the Word document that you could just type into. And this particular student, she broke it down and she put all of her answers in a PowerPoint slide for this. So again, the sample is excellent. She did a great job of showing this was the PDF, and it was really wonky when you would type into it. This is how small it would make the text. So she thought it would be better to just screenshot it and then put her answers on the side. This is very complex. You don't have to do this anymore. We have a Word template now that you can just type directly into. However, I think that looking at this sample would benefit you so that you could see the types of answers that are stimulated through this activity, the type of reflection and analysis of your curriculum. All right. And then I also have I think I had it, yes. And this one, again, this was before the PDF was turned into a Word, and this person just did it as screenshots, which is perfectly fine. And again, you could see really thoughtful answers here. So that gives you two samples of how to consider representative text from your curriculum, or if your curriculum is really void of any type of text at all, remember you can select one that you think would be a nice pairing with what you're teaching. And once you have finished, again, I recommend that the culturally responsive math is also a Word document. They're both Word documents now. Recommend you type straight into those, and then you can upload it to the discussion board as one document. And you can do that again, PowerPoint, or in this case, the Word is definitely the best option. And this is how you go ahead and save it and upload it, last name, first name, stage 2, task 3. All right, and that's it for stage 2, task 3. Please reach out if you have any questions.